We've all heard the phrase essential business tossed around, but what exactly does that include? It's causing quite the stir in the criminal justice system. Most states with shut-in orders have designated all attorneys as essential, but New York does not. And it wasn't until Sunday that New York decided to label criminal defense attorneys as essential business. In New York, courts are only operating under what Governor Cuomo has deemed an emergency, stripping many people of their constitutional rights. Vinoo is a New York criminal defense attorney. And Vinoo, you wrote an op-ed in the New York Daily News, and I want to read part of it for you and then get your response on it. It begins by saying, look, our clients are among the most vulnerable in society as they face the full weight of the government against them. In addition, our team has to process, catalog, and analyze gigabytes of evidence that the U.S. attorneys and DAs give us in hard copy on flash drives and CDs. The government isn't anywhere close to 100% online, so we can't be either. State and federal prosecutors clearly have not stopped working during this time, which means defense attorneys cannot either, nor can we afford to do so with our hands tied behind your backs. And you really do believe at this point in time that your hands have been tied behind your backs?
Well, they were, because on Friday, the first thing that Governor Cuomo did is following Shakespeare. He basically said, let's kill all the lawyers, because his executive order did not include lawyers at all. I mean, when I saw the order, I was like, we're lawyers, attorneys. I read it a bunch of times. There was a mechanism to be deemed essential. I sent in a request for such. This is in contrast to other states. Basically, about 25 states have designated lawyers as essential, and all lawyers. It's only New York and Michigan. I can't speak for why Michigan didn't. But, you know, Governor Cuomo was a former attorney general, the former attorney general, a former assistant district attorney. This is a move that's, kind of shocking. Now, there was some clarification after the op-ed came out. The New York State, in conjunction with the New York State Association of Criminal Defense Attorneys, there was they also applied on behalf of all criminal defense attorneys, and there was a thing that said criminal defense attorneys are essential. Right. But a lot of other attorneys basically aren't. And what Governor Cuomo has done is suspended the right to a speedy trial. There is an act. He's also suspended the right to be released if the DA doesn't provide a case, a felony case, present a case to a grand jury. So there's usually a 6-day period that if you're incarcerated, you have to present the case. That's been suspended. And now you're basically holding people indefinitely. So that has to change.
Yeah, I mean, as you were looking down, Vinoo, at the list of what essential businesses were, when you got to lawyer, you didn't find it, but when you got to liquor store, you did. And the next part of your op-ed says, quoting here, forget liquor stores. When the governor decrees that cops and prosecutors cannot make arrests, then I'll be the first one to say that criminal defense attorneys are non-essential. Until then, you'd better believe we are. And that really is kind of an argument that people are surprised by, is that, okay, even now they're saying criminal attorneys fine, but you got a lot of other people that are working on these cases, and you think people are really at some point in time going to need their attorneys in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is, and let me be the first to say, I'm glad liquor stores are open. I think at this time you need liquor, right? I think it's absolutely essential. I'm not saying they shouldn't be held essential. What I'm saying is, okay, where are the priorities? The governor has designated liquor stores as essential, but not lawyers. And, look, we can make all the lawyer jokes in the world, right? And it goes back to Shakespeare and all that stuff. But when people need help, the first person they turn to in a legal context is obviously a lawyer. And it doesn't mean when the courts are operating at a modified basis, doesn't mean they don't need lawyers. Tons of my civil colleagues basically can't file anything at this point. And so what's deemed essential is very restrictive at this point. Even within the criminal context, it's basically arraignments. All other motions, I mean, we have clients right now with pending motions to have their cases dismissed, and they're in limbo right now. So this is improper, and it's a problem because New York State on the criminal side doesn't do electronic filing. There's no reason that there shouldn't be electric filing on the criminal side. There is on the civil commercial side in New York State. The federal system has electronic filing. If there were, things would be moving along. In the federal system, we are having progress. We're able to file motions, and even though it's modified there too, at least with electronic filing, we can get things done.
Yeah, it's slightly off topic, Vinoo. I want to get your take on the push around the country to release a lot of these inmates who they fear might get coronavirus because the jails and the prisons really just are not equipped to handle these people and not equipped to contain COVID-19.
Look, I think the country as a whole, there's been criminal justice reform, and a lot of it's been criticized, particularly here in New York for the release for some of the bail provisions. I think with COVID-19, there could be a very positive thing that comes out of this situation, which is reevaluating who needs to be incarcerated. I mean, New York is the prison capital of the world. I mean, we have more people we account for 1/4 of the world's prison population, more than Russia, more than China. So this is a situation where hopefully what comes of this is to say, okay, who do we put in jail? Who should jail be reserved for? The most violent, people that do the most harm, whether that's even if it's nonviolent. But what's happened is, and I think this is a good thing, is that low-level offenders should maybe not be held in jail. I mean, we've had numerous horror stories of people who've been stuck in jail because they couldn't make minimal bail, and terrible things have happened to them. So this may be an opportunity for the criminal justice system as a whole to reevaluate itself.
Vinoo Varghese, good to see you, sir. Thank you for staying up with us. We appreciate it.